Good?
No, I can't hear you at all.
Really?
No, I'm messing with you.
Can you hear me well, though?
Yeah, I can hear you well. You're good.
All right.
Cool,
That's all I care. All
um,
right, I'm gonna intro Steven, right?
yeah, I just
We're
wanted
good
to
to
say
go?
a quick something real fast. This
Sure.
is what it's about. It's about having fun. It's about learning. It's about having education and content and just being entertained together. So I want to thank all of you right now, everyone that has been in here. Don't encourage our name, please. That's great from Travis. But I just want to say thank you to everyone who's been supporting this, to share it, to get it out there. We're having fun today. This is great. We have another bunch of hours left to go. Rizzo, jump in, grab intro Steve, and I can't wait to talk about this dude.
Awesome. So, Steven Cutter, he's up next. He's a hemp activist. He's an entrepreneur, a networker, an enthusiast, and researcher for over 9 years, and is passionate about bringing this regenerative crop into the 21st century. Steven is the founder of Hemp for the Future, whose goal is to bring the proper resources and education to help scale this plan with cooperatives for a better world. Please welcome Steven Cutter. And how's it going, man?
Welcome. Thank you so much for that.
It's something where it's it's so obvious to me in my eyes. Why do we not have it grows like a weed? We don't have to wait 30 years for it to grow. Why isn't all paper on hemp? I don't understand.
Well, there's a long history to that, going back to the paper industries not wanting to switch from logging for the paper, and so instead of switching their industry, they banned hemp.
Take it away, Charlie.
Okay. Steven, what's up, man? So I just want to give a quick background on Steven. So Charlie Moore here, KusH Wear, Sustainable You. Steven, you blew my mind, man. Your heart and passion, you really care so much about people and planet. And it's an honor to have you here with us. And once you started identifying the hemp into the SDGs and how to utilize them into the SDGs, it just blew my mind. So let's, Steve, just jump into it, talk about Hemp for the Future, and we're going to go into an open chat because you're like my brother. So let's do it.
Great. Well, thanks for that, Charlie. So I got passionate about sustainability about 9 years ago when I started looking into permaculture, and hemp was the first crop I found that kind of blew me away. I realized you can make almost anything out of hemp, and it helps heal the soil, and you can create circular economies out of it. And so I've had this plan for Hemp for the Future for 9 years, and along the journey, I've looked into starting rideshare companies. I was looking to build the social impact rideshare company. Got in the blockchain space where we're creating currencies that value the regeneration of Earth, and hemp plays a major role in that. And also, looking to help bring this crop to the future. There's still a lot of lack of education around this plant and what it can do, and most people still associate it directly with marijuana. So there's a lot that we're doing here.
Steve, I love it. I mean, the way you have identified everything. I want you to talk about this. So I'm gonna, if you don't mind, I'm gonna throw those pre-questions out with you, if that's okay. Where do you want me to go with them?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Let's talk about your project and the impact of this project, of what you're doing, and why people should care about what we're doing, and really hit it on the low-lying fruit to high level. Okay, how people get involved, why they should get involved, and why they should care most of all.
Great. So I'll tell you about the project we got building down in Puerto Rico around the ecotourism component. So we have a farm down there on 500 acres that we're starting with 10 acres. All you can grow on in Puerto Rico is with 10 acres right now. But we have a whole eco education program that we're working with groups like Hemp Academy, Hemp Academia has a hemp curriculum. And the goal is that you come down on a 4-month education program, learn how to grow hemp, learn permaculture skills, learn forestry skills, but also be able to partake in the wonders of Puerto Rico, like the beaches and surfing and snorkeling. And I have yoga instructors down there and building instructors. And the idea is you can come down, learn how to make yourself self-reliant too. Learn the entrepreneur skills of how to grow your own business in hemp as well. So the idea is after you come out of this 4-month program, you have all the skills physically to grow your own hemp farm, but also the entrepreneur skills, and then you even will get a dividend from the crop. And so we're launching this program. Whenever this coronavirus thing gets over, people will be welcome to come down, and there'll be an application on the website for people who are interested in coming learning how to grow hemp in Puerto Rico.
So basically you're telling me you're building absolute paradise. That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, I mean, you have to have fun when you're doing this stuff. If you're not having fun, then that's not worth your time. And people might call this time it's a strange time we're living in, Charlie, right now. And I mean, gas, for instance, is negative $37 a barrel right now, which so this whole plant really ushers in. Instead of having a petroleum-based dollar, we can have a plant-based dollar. And so with that education around growing the plant, we're also building out on the macro level, we're building out the infrastructure needs to roll out cooperatives around processing and manufacturing and biofuels and paper and plastics. And the technology and the science just hasn't been there because it's been illegal to do. So that's part of what we're building, is the network to scale these in cooperative regions.
I just want to tell everyone too that you guys are going to be hearing a lot about hemp for the future through KusH. So if you guys haven't yet signed up for our newsletter is going to be consisting a lot of content about what hemp for the future is. This is so big because I think Stephen and I will both agree on this statement, but we both feel that hemp is going to become one of the most important agricultural crops economically and for the viable of just sustainability as a whole. Stephen?
Yeah, I mean, I was telling a friend just today, it's like finding the rarest, most valuable mineral on the planet. Imagine we just found that, and then it's everywhere, and that's what just happened with hemp. And so the thing that's lacking is to be able to innovate with it. So that's kind of where a lot of my passion is innovation on the technology side. So we partner with Titan Bioplastics, and David Abkastis is probably one of the top scientists in graphene, bioplastics, biofuel, concretes, and we're building an incubator to kind of foster new ideas into fruition. And so we'll have the material science division, and we'll even have like a crowdsourcing component where people can bring their ideas to the incubator, and we can help build the material needed and help even grow the hemp in order to produce the products for people.
Dude, it's how you're vertically integrating this all. And again, I just want to put emphasis. You're listening to one of the most genuine, kind-hearted, ethical businessmen there is in this entire industry. So it's really, when you're listening to this guy, he's going to have such a big impact, not just in the industry, but he's going to have a big impact to people. And Stephen, so tell me this then, all right? 5 years, what would you like to see happen with the industry? Like real tangible results, and how can people start getting involved now to lead up to that goal? Like, what would you like to see?
Sure, I'll start with the macro question. How does this industry scale? And me and one of my partners, David Cam, with Unlimited Hemp, one of the ways we think it can scale is through the power of the people in these sustainable development goal community bonds. So for instance, Charlie, imagine if your county in New York, right, wanted to create a bond around sustainable developments and hemp. We would be able to bring in, we have a template for all the equipment, all the agriculture inputs, everything that's needed in order to produce local jobs and create circular economies. And the idea is that we can create a template that's modeled around the people first and the planet. And when we have a new commodity like hemp, there's no juggernauts that are controlling and guiding the way this industry is scaling. So if we produce a model that benefits the people first, no matter what the other industry players will do, we'll have examples of how whole regions will be benefiting from this plant, not sole entities.
Steven, by the way, as you're talking, I don't know if you noticed, but man, there was a lot of like pops that happened when you were just talking in that segment.
And we're actually we're going to be doing a couple articles around the bond that will be coming out this week. And like I said, the idea is to build this for the communities, to be able to do things themselves. And I think there's a calling with our times to get back to nature in general, And back to the program, we're going to be taking, over the course of 2020, we're going to take 100 applicants that want to come down to Puerto Rico. But the goal is to build out these education centers throughout the country. When you have this plant in a region, you can create your own regional resource independency. And it's a superfood. It's a super medicine. There's every day I learn something new about this plant, and it's like that for everyone that I know in this space. I know people that have been in here for 40 years, and they're still learning every day about what this plant can do.
It's so true, and I can't wait to see how it all unleashes really through technology. And I just want to give a big shout out to Sam Stathis. I don't know if you saw his comment pop up. Thank you so much, Sam. I can't wait to start building all this, and you're going to be hearing from Sam later. So, Steve, we're home. We're stuck with COVID. Okay?
I'm not stuck.
No, you're not. I'm living on top of my mountain, so I'm chilling. But all right, for people at home, what would you give them as your opinion? What could they be doing right now to keep themselves proactively engaged, staying positive, all geared around sustainability, low-lying fruit, just to get started, just to take that first step?
So yeah, I'd like to touch base on that when in the whole digital currency realm. So I've been in the blockchain space for about 3 years, and it's around a principle called natural capital accounting, which is a 25-year study by the World Bank and the UN and many universities that simply states the more you improve the ecosystem, the more valuable it's worth. So for instance, for planting a tree, the amount of carbon sequestered, oxygen produced, biodiversity created, water purified, storm surge protection, soil retention, all these things are now value metrics. And all currency is perceived value. So Charlie, if you say planting a tree is valuable and I say it's valuable, then we have something. And so one of the things we've been working on for Hemp for the Future is to track the impact of hemp and give additional value metrics for the carbon sequestered, the not having to use as much water, like compared to cotton, not using chemicals, not having to chop down trees for your paper, not having to mine for oil. All these things are additional value metrics in this natural cap accounting system. But getting back to what people can do right now while they're sitting at home. So we've partnered with a group called Seeds, and Seeds is a digital currency that gives rewards for planting trees. They give seeds for good deeds. And they have a whole tree challenge coming out. And so the idea is that maybe a listener could contribute $5 worth of fiat to plant trees, and automatically Seeds will give them $5 back in a cryptocurrency. And then they have a token that represents that tree being planted. And the idea is that we can create a whole regenerative economy out of planting trees and making money grow on trees. And we have the tree partners that have planted like 250 million trees and 9 million trees and have been doing the studies on this stuff. So it's kind of we're creating a whole new currency that stands for a sustainable and harmonious planet.
I hope you guys heard that clearly, that planting trees is building into a denominational value of currency. So I'm just going to reiterate that out there in case anyone didn't listen carefully. So we have some questions here. Steve, if you want to pull some up, we have one from Matt Ferrara and one from Joe Rizzo. All right. So Matt Ferrara, what was your most eye-opening fact about hemp?
The fact that it's been neglected for so long, and that it's become illegal and a stigma in our society. But the one that kind of blew me away the most is that no other plant has been in human connection longer than the cannabis plant. This was the first plant we grew as a species. So something intuitively in us as humans realized that this plant was going to give us the most amount of return for our time putting into it. And so that kind of blew me away that we knew this 10,000 years ago.
That's awesome. I didn't know that, so I just got schooled. So thank you. Cool. What drew you to the hemp life? This is a fun one. We've spoken about this quite a bit.
Yeah. For me, like I said, I got into sustainability when I started making my kids watch a nature documentary, and that kind of opened me up to the natural world, and I realized there needed to be a change. So that's when I got into permaculture, and I found hemp, and I was hooked from the beginning. And I have another partner that made a statement that he said when he got into hemp, he knew that if he spent his whole life working on this plant, it would be time well spent. So the people that we work with in this space, they really respect the plant and what it can do for the people. That's
awesome. So Stephen, if you were to leave people off with a statement right now, okay? One is, should they look at hemp as a real viable future sustainable industry that they can start tracking into? And where can they start looking, and how, what's great, by the way, too, we have the whole Movers on here as the co-host of this event. These movers are going to rear to go to start getting into, planting trees. I mean, one of the guys just posted, he's going to plant a forest.
Yeah.
So you leave these guys off with a high level statement from Stephen Cutter, and we're home right now. Let's give them an influence and impact.
So I guess I've been analyzing this too, even over this shutdown period, and it gets back to kind of a simple principle. We've kind of been functioning as a species, just kind of moving along this wheel forward and extracting from this planet to create really a lot of meaningless stuff. So most of the stuff that we thought we needed, we really don't need. And the number one thing we can do is to vote with our dollar. So if we start demanding these things with our money, and start buying hemp products, and start demanding that money gets invested into this to build this out, and that's the most powerful thing you can do is to vote with your dollar and buy things that you believe in.
I couldn't agree with you more. It is so important. It's how we spend and how we move in society that dictates what's going to come forward. So, Stephen, we're going to be coming to the conclusion of this interview. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm honored to have you on here. You're like a brother of mine.
That's
one of the greatest guys I know. Truly, truly genuine heart. I think Rizzo's going to be jumping in. Cool. There's Rizzo. You're muted, by the way. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Oh, you're good.
Oh, wait, you're kidding?
Yeah, no. Stephen, thank you, guys.
Thank you, man. That was awesome.
Peace.
Later, bro.